morning and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We are on episode 56. We're going to be recapping the Christmas games of the NFL. We're going to be talking about the Thursday night football and the NFL Saturday game, since there's no college football outside of these bowl games, but not the college playoffs. But before I get too far, let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Tim Cook. How you doing today?
I'm doing good today. We got a couple of Christmas Day games that were really competitive, and then we watched a Thursday night game that, if anybody stood up for that or stayed up for that, God bless you, because I tell you what, that was one hard game to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's get going on that Christmas Day game. So we talked about Christmas Day has been notorious for the NBA. NFL has their two games. Now, this is the second year they've done this, but two games on Netflix. Let's start off with the Chiefs versus Steelers. What did you think about that game?
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs got the ball first, and Mahomes to Worthy got the passing touchdown. They drive got extended by the fourth down conversion, and then Worthy does an unsportsmanlike penalty. What are you doing, man? Come on, guys. I mean, you know what you can do, what you can't do. Luckily, that didn't cost them, but it did cost them the extra point, because when the kicker, Butker, goes up to kicks it, now he's got to kick it almost a 50-yard extra point. So it's like, come on, man. You guys are better at that. And then they get the ball back. I felt like that Wilson didn't have hardly any time. Chris Jones was still out. He didn't play. Yeah. And Wilson still didn't have no time to throw the ball. He was getting hammered the whole time. He tried to step up and make plays, but he just couldn't. And I think then he started running, which I think even the announcer said maybe that's what he needs to start doing, is getting out of the pocket and using your legs like the old Russell Wilson. But he just continued to keep, and they were just stepping on themselves the whole time. Mahomes threw another touchdown pass to Watson, made it 13, and it didn't seem like they could do anything. And then they go down the field, Pittsburgh goes down the field, and Wilson throws that interception in the end zone. Well, that's the old Russell Wilson that played at Denver. That's kind of the play that he did. They just couldn't get anything going. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's the difference of two teams right now. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers of the beginning of the year, we were like, okay, watch out. Here we go. And now their defense has got injuries that need to get back to sorted. There was some controversy said about 10 players on the same page, one player not. Didn't hear what all that rumors were about, but that's not good to hear going into playoff time. And then the offensive side of the ball, they can't run the ball. They were not able to run the ball. You have two good running backs, can't run the ball. And George Pickens, even if he makes a catch, he gets a 15-yard penalty after it just to neglect the play anyways. I think right now Pittsburgh is in very bad danger zone. And at the same time, you know what the Chiefs said? We want home field advantage. We want to shut it off right now. I don't even think they'll rest next week. They may rest a second half, but they have to win next week because they don't want Denver in. So they're gonna they're gonna play decently. I just think right now the way that Kansas City's playing is, oh shit, haven't they won the last two Super Bowls?
Yeah.
And we sat there all year being like, I'm not a believer. That was an old school ass whipping.
Yeah.
And you know what, Tomlin? That was your ass getting whipped. That was Andy Reid out schemed him, outplayed him all day. And I will say about the Xavier Worthy one thing. The Xavier Worthy celebration was awesome. It's Christmas Day. It's a great,
I know, man.
And then when you lift the jersey, there
and
the whole let's not teach violence, and I get all that stuff. I think there's some to be a little leeway in that, but the refs are being told right now, if there's anything that looks like that, throw a flag. We want to nick it in the butt immediately. Xavier Worthy, I mean, you don't score that many touchdowns to do crap like that. So, but I just the Steelers better win next week, because if not, don't worry about the playoffs, boys, because you're going home soon.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? The Chiefs had 5 sacks in that game. They were just swarming on Wilson. He had no chance whatsoever. And that we've talked about George Pickens. Can he stop bitching about things? You know what? He was bitching about a false start call, so that backs him up. They throw the ball down the field, and he can't make the catch. Now, come on. Worry about playing and less about the teammates. Stop your bitching. He's a great talent, but don't turn into Santonio Holmes or the Brown. Don't turn into them kind of players. And he's starting to do that right now. And I'm not liking that. Stop your bitching. Just play football, okay?
Yeah, and I think I will tell you right now, Tomlin don't play like that. So Tom will get rid of your ass when you start doing stuff like
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson, Antonio Brown. You have all these players that had these big personalities after they did some good play in Pittsburgh.
Right.
And Tomlin goes, see you later. We're not going to do it. And that's what I think the biggest interesting thing is they talked about the 10 players on the same page, one player not, when they're talking about the defense. So who's that? And what's that? That doesn't sound like a Tomlin's offense or Tomlin's defense. That's the problem that I think you're running into. And I did see someone, and I don't remember if it was a person on a TV show, but was like, you might need a coaching change. Okay, relax.
No, I don't know.
I don't know if I'm the coach. I just think right now your old school way has to change. And Russell Wilson might not be the guy. And that's the problem. Justin Fields, I don't think is the guy either. But what you have right now isn't working. So something does need to change, but I don't think it's that coach in this one. He's done it long enough. He knows what he's doing.
And Mahomes had a hell of a day, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, What'd you think of the coach, the candy cane coach?
So I thought the coach were dope.
Did you really? I thought they were ugly.
I thought they were cool. I mean, it's one of those things where you get to take home and you never see again, right?
Right.
But then they grabbed the cakes, and Travis Kelce was the only one that ate it.
Right.
Out of the 2 games that we're going to talk about, he's the only one. How the hell do you not eat it? I mean, I'm a little surprised the NFL didn't kind of be like, hey, if you get announced, you need to eat it.
Yeah.
It's publicity. It's a way to So then they run into the locker rooms with the jackets on, and then fat old Andy Reid comes out with his Santa Claus, and he's like, we're getting home field advantage for breakfast.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what? He probably was sweating his ass off because he sat in that room forever for like, hey, get your ass inside so I can go home and have a cheeseburger.
Right.
But that is a team that looks like it's having a lot of fun right now, playing really good football, and going to have home field advantage. I'm telling you right now, the next team we're about to talk about, I think, is their best competition in the AFC. But otherwise, the Chiefs might be on their run for the 3rd Super Bowl win.
Yep.
Let's move it to that second game. Ravens versus Steelers. No, it's Ravens versus Houston Texans. Honestly, it didn't matter who they were playing because the other team didn't even play. So Ravens come out and just absolutely smack them out. Derrick Henry with 90 yards or something like that in the first quarter. Sitting there, the drive that they had was just, we're going to beat you up front. We're going to beat you down the field. Lamar Jackson didn't have to throw the ball. They just gave it to Derrick Henry. At the other side of the field, Texans come out, and they just got nobody now. There's nothing. Because Joe Mixon was great when you had the passing game. And now that you don't have the passing game, it's hard to get Joe Mixon the ball. You saw a lot of controversy not controversy, but some arguments on the sidelines with Joe Mixon and that staff right there. So then Ravens, what do they do the second quarter? Well, let's get Lamar involved. And they just beat the piss out of this team. The only points that the Ravens get the Texans get throughout this game is a 2-point safety. Outside of that, the Ravens handled it from start to finish. And I'm going to say this. Lamar Jackson is your MVP. Stop it. It. Everyone goes by feelings. It's not Josh Allen. Go look at the stats. Oh, wait, we don't do stats anymore. We just do on a popularity contest. But Lamar Jackson is the MVP this year. What did you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, they just came out and smacked Houston right in the mouth, Baltimore did. I mean, they went down the field and just scored, and it was 14. Next thing you know, it's 14-0. Stroud just looked beat up. His offensive line is not very good. He didn't have a whole lot of time to throw the ball in either. I mean, they had 3 possessions, 3 punts. Yikes. I think I seen one stat. I think almost at the end of the first quarter, it was 127-1.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that. You're not winning very many NFL games starting out cold like that, And they just took it right to them. I mean, the Texans go forward on 4th and goal, and the Ravens stopped them short. I thought that was kind of a little bit of a turning point as well. We had our first NFL game where at halftime it was 17-2.
Yeah.
An origami score, which I don't know what the hell that means. But then in the first possession, Stroud throws an interception in the second half. The game was over. I mean, it was pretty much over. Jackson ran for a rushing touchdown. It was 24-2. He throws it to Andrews. It's 31-2. This game was over. I mean, the subs were playing halfway through the fourth quarter. I don't know what – I think Houston is a one and done. They're going to get their home game because they won their division, and they're done. They packed it in. They just cannot get anything. They can't give him enough time to throw the ball down the field. And then they try to mix it in there, and they're not blocking for him.
Yeah, I think it's injuries, unfortunately. I mean, Stephon Diggs goes down, you
Yeah.
got Dell down, you lost
Yeah.
Nico Collins at one point this year. It's just the injuries have added up, and I think they spent their money on the wideouts, but didn't get a good reinforcement. Now, don't get me wrong. Throughout the earlier this year, we were like, Joe Mixon, well, what a great year he was having. It was great when you had the passing game involved. You could run the ball. Now the passing game is not as involved, and so now
Right.
the can't get going, and you don't have that offensive line that's going to say we're going to beat you up front and get you yards. You don't have that. So, and really the offensive line has struggled a lot. But I think the other biggest thing about this game was Beyonce at halftime.
Oh yeah.
Hold up, a Christmas game on Netflix has a better halftime show than what we're going to get for the Super Bowl? Because that was awesome. I'm telling you right now, Beyonce put on a hell of a show with the Houston Texans. 200 countries viewed these two games, and Beyonce just blew it up. I mean, I'm talking like it reminded me of Creed back on Thanksgiving and
Right.
for Dallas Cowboys, right? It was an awesome performance. And then they start that second half, and honestly, Lamar could have actually watched the halftime show. He didn't need
Yeah, they didn't need him. They didn't need him for the halftime.
But I want to say the Baltimore Ravens defense looked good. And I do think they're a little inconsistent, but when they're on, they're on. And they're a team to be a force to be reckoned with because I think it's a matchup based. And no team, I feel like in the AFC can play the way that the Ravens have their running attack. If they can get Derrick Henry and Lamar going,
yeah, they're gonna be a tough out.
They are. And I mean, I don't see Buffalo, and I'm not hating on the Buffalo. I'm not hating Josh Allen, but I don't see how Buffalo's defense can match up to the Ravens offense the way it is.
And I think moving Kyle Hamilton back to strong safety, free safety, that made a big difference as well. Now they've got a person that can ball hawk in the back and down the field too as well. I think that's a big change that they made halfway through the season because they were getting lit up on some games with the pass. So I think that moving him back there made that a big difference. Yeah, they're going to be a tough out. If they can play like that in the playoffs, woo, they're going to be a tough. They'll give the Chiefs all they can handle.
Yeah, so this was Christmas Day games. So, we joke that there was NBA's day. I said there was 200 countries that viewed over this Netflix. I think it was a great atmosphere. Obviously, Netflix made up for themselves from the whole Tyson and whatever fight.
Paul, yeah.
So that helped from them. So it looked good. It was a good. I thought the announcers were good. I like the JJ. Is it Ian Eagle or what's his name?
Yeah, Ian Eagle. Yeah.
He made a hell of a joke during one of them. He was like, if you're just turning on and you're like, man, those Stranger Thing kids grew up really fast. It was actually a perfect combo because it was Nick Carlson.
Yeah. He started laughing and it was like dead air. It was good. That was good.
But I thought the commentators were good. It was good to see Manti Te'o at the game. It was it was a good little combo there. I want to say this next year for Christmas. It's on a Thursday. NBA. It might be time to go to the Christmas Eve, or hockey. It might be time to go to Christmas Eve because I'll tell you right now, there was no games on Christmas Eve, but then there was all these games on Christmas Day, and I did not even for a slight second think about turning on NBA. So I think you need to move that way. I understand the ratings might say differently, but the way NFL held that day, and if Netflix,
it's gonna be hard. Right.
I want to say this real quick. Netflix having this. Oh, that's a great opportunity for Netflix to have an NFL game. No. It was the other way around. The NFL got to go into an atmosphere that people may not be NFL fans. Netflix is a huge household thing. Paramount is CBS. We get that, right? NFL Network is a part of whatever. But Netflix going in there, that's 200 countries. All these people got it for the streaming services. NFL just broadened their spectrum even more. So,
that's why the wrestling went that way.
Yep.
You know that. I mean, the numbers that came out today, 65 million viewers for these two games. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, which we did see some of the wrestlers. I saw, dang it, what's his name?
I seen Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan was on in the second game. Game. I think it was.
She was a Houston fan.
Yeah.
So, the one that's a Bears fan, he's from Chicago, but he trashed You know what? Honestly, if I ask my wife, she'd probably know who it is. She knows more about wrestling than I do. But
Was it CM Punk? Was it?
yes, CM Punk was
Okay.
like, he trashed the Bears owner.
Really?
You guys need to sell the team. You guys don't care. Stuff like that. I believe he is from Chicago, but that'll actually lead us into our next conversation here. The Seahawks versus Bears, Thursday Night Football. Rainy day, we get it. Not great atmosphere. Kind of maybe forgot that there was a Thursday night game on. And then you can turn on this TV, and it's 3-0, 3-3, 6-3. Boring game. What did you think about this game?
Yeah, this was not a good game whatsoever. I know the elements did not help, but the defense they had a chance at the end to win this. They had a chance, and they just can't. He's overthrowing. He's taking sacks. Now there's talk that we might set him, or they might set him, the Bears, so that he doesn't get the record for the most sacks by an NFL quarterback in a season. Right now, it's 9 sacks, which I don't know if Green Bay next week could get 9 sacks against Caleb Williams without pulling them. I mean, if they get close to that record, you got to pull them. Yeah. Because his confidence is going to be so low. His confidence right now, and they interviewed him at the end of the game, and he's like, we just don't win games. We just gotta go out there and win, and whatever it takes. And I'll tell you what, whoever's the regime that's still doing the draft picking, better not pick any offensive players. You better get somebody on that offensive line.
Yeah,
because he had no time to throw, no time. But he was also missing people too, which is kind of a normal. I mean, I don't know if he's regressed. I don't know how a front office can send out hot garbage like that. There was even people booing at the end of halftime. And then in the third quarter, they were chanting, sell the teams, sell the teams. What? You just don't, that's these Bears fans don't deserve shit like this. And this is terrible. I mean, now they're wearing brown bags at the games.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen that in Cleveland. You've seen that in other places.
New Orleans, right.
Yeah, I felt bad for Caleb Williams. I watched that game. I felt bad for him. Why I feel bad for him is, yes, is he not great into his progression? So he looks at your first receiver. If he doesn't open, he tries to scramble, tries to throw something up. Obviously, now the interception thing is over. He throws an interception. Right. We don't want to talk about that anymore. I just feel bad for him because even in that last drive, they don't want to go for it, or they're going to go for it on 4th down. They get a false start, so they back them up. So then they send out the punt team. Chicago calls a timeout. So then Chicago runs back out there. They get 4th down. Like, you wasted a timeout. They get the 4th down. It was just shit like that. And then even there was one where they throw the ball out of bounds. They call timeout. Like, it was just poor coaching. It's one of these things where it's like you want to blame the player because you see the player playing, but all the things that are happening in the background are causing why that player is playing the way he is. We saw Caleb Williams in college. He's a great athlete. We see him in the NFL. He's a great athlete. And he's got weapons. He's got people. I just think right now the coaching and I feel like the Bears need to go get someone that is going to be hard-nosed for a head coach. And I don't care if he coaches offense or he coaches defense, but someone that's going to come in there and say, I run the show. And I'm not advertising for this person, but it was like when Ron Zook, I think that's his name, came into Illini.
Right.
He just has that abrasiveness that you're just like scared of, like, okay. And I think the only person that you can say that is right now is the old Tennessee coach.
Vrabel.
Vrabel. I think Vrabel's the only one. I know Ben Johnson's a huge name coming out right now, but Ben Johnson is just, I feel like, another one of their coaches that came in. He's got a great philosophy, he's a mindset. And I don't know if you need. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you can't have a coach that's going to be successful that way. Look at O'Connell at Minnesota. Yep. Right. But I'm just saying that right now, what the Bears need is someone that's going to come in and say, "This is my show, and I'm running it this way." Because I think the players have kind of ran the show recently in the past years, and now that's what your problem is.
But will this organization let that person do that? There's also been talk of. I had a way you're talking. Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you want something? This is a dumpster fire of an organization right now. I don't know if it changes until the mechanics get out. I don't know. It's a dumpster fire right now.
I think we kind of forget how soon, how recent Lovey's run was. You know what I mean? It seemed a century ago, but it wasn't really that long ago. And so I do think it takes a good coach to come in there. I think they've the Trestmans and the Eberflus. They just weren't good selections.
Right.
The one that for the Chiefs, they just weren't good selections.
Nagy, yeah.
I think, but the problem is once you get a coach in there, let him run the show.
Yeah,
Everyone
I agree.
shut the F up and just
Yep. Get out of the way. Let him coach. Let him do what he needs to do.
Because you have the talent there. And to be honest with you, if you don't allow him to get out of his way, the NFC North has a strong teams. Super strong teams. You will be the stock of the NFC North. An easy win for some of these teams if you don't get out of the way. Let's start competing now. I would love to see it. I would love to see the Bears given a run for it because then that makes the NFC North even more. Since the Lions have got on, it's been a great division. And that's who you're going to need. You're going to need a person like Dan Campbell, to be honest with you. I'm going to bite your kneecaps. And you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Right.
And wait, they're pretty damn good, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's bad. I mean, the Bears, this game was awful. It was a bad game. I also think the Seahawks at the same time, good luck. Even if you get in, you're not doing shit. I mean, you couldn't get the running attack going yesterday when the Bears' running defense has been absolutely horrible. You couldn't throw the ball because of the weather conditions, whatever. I just watched the Vikings play in Seattle where it was raining about as much as that, and the Vikings threw the ball, and you threw the ball everywhere.
Right.
It was a game where it was like, it's cold, it's wet, let's just do what we need to do and win and get out of here. Well, guess what? You're going to make it to – you might make it to the playoffs.
Right.
And even if you do, you're just going to be a nice little easy kick in the ass right to your next vacation.
Yep.
It's not – that game was bad. I thought Seahawks would blow out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they start out going down the field, and they kick that field goal right off bat, 3-0, and you're thinking, oh, fuck, look at it.
Yeah.
And then it like both teams stopped playing. It was just like, good God. And Geno Smith, he's not your guy. I'm sorry, Seattle, he's not your guy. I mean, he took a lot of sacks, threw the ball, bad passes. It was just a bad game overall.
Totally agree. You bet on the Chiefs game. How'd you do on that one?
I did, and given the 3, and I won by 17, I think it was.
Yeah. So
12, 17.
Yeah. I actually bet the Seahawks the -3. Obviously, they won by 3, so I pushed on that one. I was hoping for overtime to kind of just either win or lose. I hate pushing. It's a waste of a night. That's all it is. I'd rather lose and just walk away from it.
Yeah.
But we got to move on because we got some games on Saturday. We can't sit on these other games. We got to sit on or talk about what's coming up. Saturday at noon, we have the Chargers versus the Patriots. Obviously, not much for the Patriots to play for, or is there? And then the Chargers on the other side, they got to keep this going. They got to start running this game because they are a playoff team, and they haven't looked like a playoff team as of recent. This is a good game to show your dominance, get your win, try to show that because I saw that J.K. Dobbins has been activated, so that might be your start of hey, we can get this going. Now, why I said the Patriots, do they have anything they're playing for? There's conversations, rumors that Vrabel might be the head coach of the Patriots next year. They might be moving on. All it was a stepping stone for this one coach. Vrabel going in there. So if they win this game, that's not those conversations anymore. Those rumors kind of go away. If they lose this game, those just keep up. I'll tell you right now, Justin Herbert, do what you need to do to win this game to sit out. Just because you need as much time as you can to rest up.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I think if it's a blowout, I think you sit them. I mean, you don't need to play them. The Patriots or the Chargers coming off that big win against the Broncos. And the Patriots had a 14-0 lead against the Bills and just shit the bed at the end. I think that for the Patriots to win, Drake May's got to cut down on the turnovers. He's still throwing bad balls. But, here's the deal. I think what's going to be the key is for the Chargers, the Patriots' run defense is terrible. They give up 160 yards a game. They're not very good. So with J.K. Dobbins getting back in the lineup, I think you're going to have to lean on him heavy and let Herbert just dink and doink down the field, but lean on Dobbins.
Yeah, well, and I think you have to at this time, but I don't know if you're going to lean on him because he's coming off the injury.
Yeah.
I think it's still Gus Edwards is the backup there, or whoever they have running the ball anymore these days. I think it is going to be a run heavy in this one, and then when you need that pass, Justin Herbert does it. At the same time, you're saying Drake May needs to get. He's a rookie, right? He's a rookie with no weapons. He's going to throw the ball up there. I just want him to keep progressing. All rookie quarterbacks have progressed in the right way, except for Caleb Williams. obviously with Jane Daniels and Bo Nix and now Drake May, we see him since that first game that he played. He's starting to read the defenses a little bit better. But I don't think I don't think there's much in this game to actually say that like the Patriots are going to compete with this. Are you betting on this game?
Yes, I will be betting. I will be betting on all 3 games. The Patriots have failed to cover in 7 of the last 8 as home dogs. The Chargers have failed to cover the spread in 3 of the last 4 games following a division win. I like the Chargers because I think they're the better team, and I wonder how the Patriots are going to bounce back against that tough loss against Buffalo. So give me the Chargers, and I'll give you the 4 points.
Yeah, I thought the same thing in this one. I mean, it is the 4 makes me a little nervous. I would have rather gotten around 3.5. But with it being at 4, I would definitely take that too. I like the Chargers. I think the Patriots don't have much to play for, and at the same time, it's a Saturday game. It's one of these things. But be on the lookout. It's a home game. And for some reason, the Patriots find ways to win games at home when they shouldn't be. So that moves us to our 3:30 game. The Denver Broncos versus the Bengals. What do you think about this game?
Broncos coming off that tough loss last Thursday against the Chargers, where they led 24-13 in the third quarter. The Bengals coming off a big win against Cincinnati last week. The key to this game, got to get Bo Nix going for 4 quarters. He looked really good Thursday night against the Chargers in the first half, and then he just kind of Sean Payton decided that was working, let's keep doing it, and they didn't adapt. They didn't change after halftime. Also, they had a lot of bad penalties in the second half against that game. Clean that up. You've got to get that cleaned up before the playoffs. For the Bengals, they need this win to stay alive. This game here, if the Bengals win this one and they play, I think, Cleveland next week.
No, they play the Chiefs.
No, Broncos play the Chiefs next week.
Oh, yeah.
But if the Broncos lose this one and the Chiefs, they're out. If the Bengals can win and then win next week as well. So, so that's going to be a big deal. The Broncos have covered the spread in each of the last 5 games as road dogs following a road loss. I think Denver's defense steps up big time against this powerful offense of Cincinnati. So I like Denver and the 3.5 points, getting to 3.5.
Yeah. I mean, I like this one. I just find a way. I think Denver's going to shit the bed here. I'll take the Bengals on that one. I'll bet the 3.5. I'm actually looking at them that way because I think what is the defensive corner playing? Is Sutton playing this week?
Surtain, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Playing because without that defense is a whole different team.
Yes, and I think their Moss, their other cornerback Moss, I think he's coming back this week as well. So they've been missing him.
Yeah, because that would be a huge advantage for Denver's defense with this game. I just think the way Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all them have been playing. Honestly, the Bengals defense has kind of stepped up a little bit as of recent, been causing turnovers. I think with the rookie quarterback, they'll get after it. It's a home game. It's an afternoon game. I like the Bengals on this one. I'm actually betting the 3.5 giving on that one.
Yeah, right.
So that takes us to our night game. This game could have been something. It could have been the Arizona Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Rams. So Arizona loses last week. They're obviously eliminated. All they're playing right now is upset for the Rams this week because the Rams are the lead of the division. But the Seahawks are sitting there waiting as they get that win Thursday night. The Rams, the way that they've been playing recently, they do look like they're going to get to the playoffs. Seahawks are taking the opposite direction. Arizona, that Arizona team that we saw in the beginning of the year that we were like, oh my gosh, okay, they for real. Kyler Murray for real. Okay. I think there's too much toxicity in there now for them to actually compete in this game. At the same time, too, if you're a Rams fan or if you're a Rams player right now, you got to keep this momentum going. I think Puka and Cooper Kupp are going to be a huge factor in this game. And then they're going to finish it with Kyren Williams at the end of the game. But what do you think about this game?
Yeah, they had a bad loss last week against Carolina. You got to beat Carolina. I'm sorry. You got to beat them. If you want to play into the playoffs, you got to beat Carolina. So they're coming off that, and they were eliminated from the play. Where the Rams, they're looking they win this week. That next week I think they play Seattle. May not make a difference. If they lose this week against Arizona, now they're tied, and the winner goes to the playoffs. The loser will stay home. So, and that Rams offense with Kupp and Nakua, they're just clicking right now. I mean, they're playing probably one of their best balls on offense. And my next question, I want to ask you this one too. Do you think the Marvin Harrison pickup, Junior, when they picked him at 4, do you think that's been a bust this year?
I don't think it's a bust. I don't think it's a. I don't think you can say bust until they've played a couple of years. And the reason I say this is because first year, but I just don't know if Kyler Murray is the quarterback for Marvin Harrison.
I agree.
It's hard to be like, well, Marvin Harrison ain't good. Are you watching his routes? Are you watching him run his routes? Because that's the only time you can tell whether wide receiver is a bust or not. Because otherwise, it's the quarterback actually getting the ball. Because I'll tell you right now, as a Vikings fan, Justin Jefferson should get the ball every single damn time. Every play. I don't care. Put 11 guys on Justin Jefferson. I'm still throwing him the ball. That's what I feel. But I don't think.
I think right. I think he's struggling this year. He's more of a runner that can outrun people.
Yeah.
As far as going for a 50-50 ball, I watched him last 2 weeks. He can't get the 50-50 balls right now. So he's either got to bulk up or out jump him or whatever. But he can't get the 50-50 balls. And then there's also a question this week, is James Conner playing? He's got a bum leg. So I don't know. That's still kind of up in the air. Stafford's going to look for getting revenge because they got beat at Arizona in week 4 against the Cardinals defense right now that doesn't look good. I mean, they give up 36 points against Carolina. I think the Rams defense feasts on Kyler Murray. And so give me the Rams and I'll give you the 6.5. I think they're playing their best ball and Arizona's going the opposite direction.
I'm in the same boat as this one. If it was in Arizona, it'd be a different game. Now, the Rams do need to still win, though, because if they win, then they're only one game up going into Seattle. They would split the tiebreaker if Seattle wins next week. So I think it comes down to points or something like that, because they would be exactly equal on the head-to-head and the record. I think it comes down to who scored more points or something like that. I remember hearing someone say something, but they got to win this game just to make sure. Because if you lose and you go tied, then you don't have that possibility of a halfway. Like one of you teams are going to go on. I think Arizona, as much as I would love to say they're going to play the villain in this game, I don't see it happening because the whole way of Trey McBride walking out of there and saying soft as hell, there's just too much something bad going there. And how is Trey McBride not one of your best options? If James Conner don't play, I think you throw the ball 50 times. Because what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to give it to Everett or whatever that other running back is. James Conner is the soul of that team. And I don't know. I mean, Budda Baker has had great defenses in the past, but recently that defense doesn't look good. I think LA just takes advantage of this and says, hey, we want to be a team that people talk about in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we want to make the playoffs. We're going in the right direction. And Murray's balls is just – I watched last week. They loop. There's no strength to it. They like he floats them up there and go get them, and they're just not catching. I mean, it's just and he's not running the ball either.
Yeah,
he's not getting anything out of the pocket. He just looks tentative every time he's got the ball. So I think Arizona's cashed it in, and I think the Rams want it more. And that's why I don't think this is going to be a competitive game.
Yeah, and that's honestly my other fear of this is Saturdays is. I could see, honestly, all but the Broncos and Bengals kind of being a little bit of a blowout after we came off of a Christmas Day blowout. I think what you're seeing right now at this time of the year for NFL, obviously playoffs are about to roll in. You're just seeing what teams are the cream of the crop, and you're seeing what teams are just in the NFL, right? And when you look at this one, I think that's the Rams and Cardinals. I think you're in the same boat as that one. So we did bet on all 3 games. So if you do take any of our betting advice, please – just remember, we're 2 goons at talking NFL and college footballs. So just take it with whatever 2 cents you would like. Please bet responsibly. We will be back on Sunday to be doing the recap of the Saturday NFL games and the NFL. But then we will finish that podcast with the start of the college football playoffs. So if you are just listening for college football, you can go all the way pretty much to the end. We're going to be talking about college football there at the end. If you're an NFL fan, this has been a great weekend for you because that's all we've talked. But we want to thank everyone. I hope everyone had a great Christmas, but we will be back on Sunday. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.